Hello, it's Mark here with another update from social distancing. Still doing that. Still working from home, obviously. Still not making any journey that isn't essential, which means I pretty much haven't been out the house much. How's it been going? It's weird working from home all the time. And I tell you what, some days it just feels as though my job is just being on Zoom. And the worst thing about Zoom is every time somebody mentions a Zoom meeting, I immediately have the song Zoom by Fat Larry's band going through my head all the time. Anyway, it's quite like Zoom though. There's quite a lot you can do with it. With a friend of mine and some friends, we did a tour of the Winchester House online, which was very interesting. The woman who built the Winchester House is, well, just off the wall. She just kept building. And if I ever get to America, I really want to go and visit the Winchester House. Anyway, if you don't know what it is, look it up. Google's your friend here. And also as well, we've had like a bit of a watch party for Tiger King. My God, I can't even find the words for Tiger King. It's brilliant in all the wrong ways. Anyway, so what's my advice for this continued kind of working from home and what have you? I think my advice this time is don't do what I've spent the last few days doing, which is just stressing about working from home. And I think talking to some colleagues as well, I think we've all got a kind of sense of, are we doing enough? Why don't I feel as though I'm achieving stuff? And we are. I mean, the fact that we've kind of transferred to working from home, that's an achievement in itself. And of course there's things that aren't going to get done. Of course there's things that we aren't going to be able to achieve. I think at this stage, anything's an achievement. If you manage to kind of sort anything out in your job, then that's an achievement. And I think given the circumstances, the fact that we are so restricted now, and quite rightly so, because of the really bad situation out there, then, I think just getting through the day and getting one thing done might be the way forward. That's kind of what I'm doing. If I get one thing done, it's great. If I get more done, brilliant. And also as well, and I've said it before, is just making sure you've got an end time that you say, right, okay, work's over. I've actually started wearing different clothes in the evening. And I know that sounds really silly, but actually what I do is I kind of put, my trousers and work stuff on for when I'm working. But in the evenings, I'll immediately go into the kind of pajamas or lounge pants, because it kind of it makes you feel as though, right, the working day is finished and now this is me time. So as usual, one of my big recommendations to get through this is to read and pick up a book. And what I'm going to suggest this time, because we all need some escapism, but also as well, I think sometimes we need something that shows us that things turn out right in the end. And strangely, crime novels and murder mysteries and stuff like that tend to do that. I mean, Agatha Christie, the whole point was it was kind of like something had gone wrong with the world, i.e. a murder, but then kind of logic and decency and hard work and all that kind of stuff in solving the crime then puts the situation right. In other words, the guilty are punished and that kind of thing. Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of that kind of thing. I mean, I'm a huge Agatha Christie fan. But there's another set of books that if you've never read them, you really should, because they are classics. And I'll give you a clue. Yes, it's Sherlock Holmes, Arthur Conan Doyle. Now, I'll show you, but this is... I've had this for years. I got this for Christmas one year when I was probably about 12, I guess, I think. And this was my first introduction to Sherlock Holmes. And I fell in love with, I mean, look, it's just, look, the dust cover has long since gone, But this was made in the days where if the dust cover went, didn't really matter. Because look, you got a really cool cover on the hardcover itself. And I mean, this is thick. This is everything. This is kind of every story that Sherlock Holmes story that Conan Doyle ever read. And the other thing is that it's got the original kind of from the Strand magazine where Sherlock Holmes was first published and serialised. It's got the original hand drawings. I think it's by Sidney Badgett. They're not the original. They were originals. These were the kind of second ones that were done by Sidney Badgett. So from the Strand magazine. So this has always travelled with me. It's one of the books that I've never really kind of let go from my childhood. Now, why do I like it? Well, Sherlock Holmes is pretty cool, isn't he? You know, he sorts stuff out. He thinks in a genius kind of way, but also there's the kind of interplay between him and John Watson and stuff like that. It's one thing that makes me a real Sherlock Holmes fan is one book in particular. Can you guess what it is? That's my film poster. And it is, of course, The Hand of the Baskervilles, which is, as far as I'm concerned, it may not be the best book ever written, but I think it's the best story ever told. And I think, you know, it's got everything for me. It's got adventure, it's got kind of, you know, crime, detection, touch of the supernatural. And so I absolutely love it. I collect editions of Hound of the Baskervilles, and every time I get a new one, I read it again. So I've read it hundreds of times now, I reckon, since I was 12, and I still can't get enough of it. If you've never read it, it's only really thin. It's only a short story in a lot of ways, and also as well, the end of chapter 2. I think the last sentence of the end of chapter 2 is the best cliffhanger in literature that's ever been written. So yes, I would highly recommend it. I mean, I've got a lot of these in the old Penguin editions, but you can get them. I mean, there's my copy of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which are the short stories. He wrote 4 novels, and I think it was 56 short stories. But one other thing that, if you really were interested, this is absolutely brilliant. And again, it's another big, thick book. This is by Matthias Bostrom, The Life and Death of Sherlock Holmes. And it's the story of Sherlock Holmes from the original stories, Arthur Conan Doyle, but it also tells the story of all the film adaptations, all of the TV adaptations, right up to the most recent BBC One adaptation with Benedict Cumberbatch. As you can see there he is. There's Victorian Sherlock, modern Sherlock. So it really does kind of go into kind of how Sherlock has just become this huge industry and almost like a media star. It's a media star that never existed. Anyway, if you want some escapism whilst you're on lockdown or whatever we're calling it, then try some Sherlock Holmes. You can get loads of them if you've got a Kindle and stuff like that. I think you can get them really, really cheap on Kindle. So maybe, you know, start with Hound of the Baskervilles. I think you'll enjoy it. Anyway, so that's me. Still working from home. Still not really leaving the house. Still not really seeing many people. And yeah, so that's it really. That's me. Another update soon. Okay, bye.